My name is Jonathan Lee. This is Management 16, 9:30 a.m. with Harold Buchanan. And the prompt was interviewing one of my parents about an ethical dilemma they faced in the past and going through the 8-step model. And I interviewed my dad, and his email is jeffjinlee@yahoo.com. So when talking to him, he told me about his career, and he's an HR consultant. And people at work, there was someone at work that did something that they weren't supposed to, but there was a close friend of his that he made a really strong friendship with through work. And basically what it was he would get, it was for a restaurant, and there was like whenever he would purchase like meals and stuff like that, he would change the pricing for himself and make it extremely discounted, basically would steal from the company. And the company has a zero tolerance policy, so there's no warning, there's no anything like that. If you get caught doing something you're not supposed to, you get terminated. And the ethical dilemma was basically it was determining if he should fire him or if he should just ignore because he is a close friend. Because there was a lot of speculation, and my dad didn't want to believe it because it was a close friend. He didn't want to believe that someone he trusted would do something like that. And it wasn't until he actually saw it himself where he had to make the decision if he was going to fire him or just act like it never happened. And my dad told me that as an HR person, he needed to do what he needed to do, and it would have hurt the person financially by terminating him. But at the same time, he really wanted to just look away, and since it was a close friend, didn't want to do anything about it. At the end, he did end up firing him because he said that he needed to do what was right for the company, and basically just go with his own core values, which I will describe in a little bit. So going through the 8-step model, starting with number 1 was gathering the facts. I asked him what would he like to have known prior or even after. And my dad wishes that he would have liked to known why he did what he did. My dad mentioned that the person who was caught stealing knew all of the facts, knew all the rules, yet still went about and stole from the company. And my dad would have just liked to talk to him, just ask him why he did that. And he would also like to know how many times did he do it, because there was a lot of speculation. He doesn't know exactly how many times he did it. It wasn't just until that one time where he saw it for himself where he had to terminate him. And for number 2, it was defining the ethical issue. And it was either firing the person or just letting everything go. The core values in conflict were his personal friendship and his relationships versus his career and his integrity, because he mentions to everyone that right away that this is a zero tolerance company, and what kind of person would he be if he says that to everyone, but then just kind of just doesn't do anything about it just because it's his friend. And I also, by asking him how he felt, my dad said he felt terrible about just this decision because it impacted the guy's livelihood, and also just like affected him emotionally as well. On the third one, it was the stakeholders, defining all the people who were impacted. It was the person obviously who was terminated. It was also the person's family, because the guy was supporting his family through this career. And also my dad was affected because it affected him really a lot emotionally. And also the company was affected as well because he was stealing from the company, and also just having someone not there to work would also impact them as well. The next step was what decision would a person make under the consequences model. The person would probably just look away because yes, they were stealing, but it probably wasn't that much, and it was a big company, so it wouldn't matter that much in the long scheme. And plus, it would be more detrimental if you fired him because you lose friendship, it hurts his career, it hurts the person's career, and their family. So in the consequences model, the categorical imperative, you would just look away. Under the obligations, what kind of world would people want to live in if everyone did this? You would fire them, because it would be a terrible world where everyone would just like let things slide just because it was a friend. So in this integrity, in the integrity model, the person would get terminated. And in the I think I missed it, but the obligation step, it was no, the integrity is what would a good person do. A good person would fire him because you have rules and you need to follow them, and a good person would go by the rules and fire them no matter what relationship they have with the person. I asked my dad what else could he have done, and he wishes that he could have had a chance to speak with him. When he heard of the speculations, my dad didn't was kind of just ignoring all the speculations because he didn't want to believe his friend was doing what stealing from the company. But he wishes that he, right when the speculations kind of appeared to him, he wishes he would have sat down with him and just talked to him. With checking in the final step with checking your gut, I asked him what did he feel in his gut, and he didn't want to believe it at first because, like I mentioned previously, that he just didn't want to believe his friend was doing this. And when I asked him what did his gut, what did your gut tell you, he said that his gut was telling him that he should look away because it was his friend and he wanted to look after him. And after asking like, was your gut right or wrong, he told me that his gut was wrong because he needed to kind of diverge from it and be like, hey, like, I need to focus on my company, I need to focus on what's right, and do what's best for the company, and that's led to him terminating it. So in summary, it was really interesting hearing it was kind of like interesting because we've heard this dilemma in class or something similar to it, and it was interesting hearing what my dad has to go through, especially as an HR consultant. I knew that he had to make a lot of tough decisions, but I never really got into it. So after hearing about this specific case where he needed to fire one of his friends because they were stealing from the company, it was interesting to take him through the 8-step model, and he was also it also made him kind of dive deeper into this decision. And I asked him like, would he have changed anything after going through this model? And he said no. So yeah.